old names. So before we get into the nitty gritty of tonight's call, I want to encourage you guys to go peep on my page. I rarely do this. I'm not suggesting you all friend me or follow me, okay? But I want you to go look at a very authentic post that I did about me 7 weeks postpartum today. And I want you to think about someone in your life that just had a baby. And don't tell me you don't know anybody because it's social media and I'm not the only one that you know that just had a baby. Okay. So think about it. And this is your first work it task is I want you to read my post. I want you to grab some verbiage from there. One of the products that you're familiar with that I listed that I'm using or something and allow that to be the reason that you reach out to that person. But I want you to say something like, oh my gosh, Jessica, I know you just had a baby and I can only imagine how busy it is. I remember those days, or, I know what that's like to just try to figure out how you're going to wash your hair when you have a human pacifier, 12 hours a day, like make it funny, like something you want to say and say, but I just came across this post and I immediately thought about you. And I said, if there is any way that I can support you right now, nutritionally, with your stress, with your energy, you are the first person to come to the top of my mind. Okay. Like, honestly, the amount of people that have written me from this one post and are like, what are you doing? How is your hair ready? Like, how do you have energy to be on the Peloton? And I'm not kidding you guys. I attribute it all to Isogenics. Like Laura, some of the people who wrote on there were like, I wish I had these products, like when I was pregnant, like after them. And I meant what I said. It's not about the weight loss. I'm about 8 to 10 pounds away from my pre-pregnancy weight. But when I tell you, like, I'm on hours of sleep and I still have a ton of energy, a ton of clarity. And I'm like, I'm taking so many of the products. Right now, I'm literally drinking Moringa and Hydrate, like for the supply issues. So I want that to be your first one. Okay. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to think about your dream builder. Okay. Like if I could travel anywhere with this person, if I could make tens of millions of dollars with this person, if we could open up a nonprofit together, if we could be on stage together, like, I mean, your dream builder. And I want you with so much passion, with so much confidence, with so much enthusiasm. I want you to voice message them. Maybe they're a customer in your business that they've never built. Maybe they are someone who built with you 5 years ago, but the timing is different. Maybe they're in another company. Maybe they're your best friend. Maybe they're your neighbor. Like maybe it's someone you stalk on Instagram. I don't care who it is, but that person right now, we all have it, right? Put the name in the chat. I dare you guys, put the name in the chat of your dream builder. And I want you to voice memo them. And I want you to come up with something straight from the heart about the promotion, about what's happening and why the timing is right, and get them on the phone with you. Okay. So it might sound something like, Laura, you might think I'm absolutely crazy right now, but when I tell you, you are my dream builder. If I could build this business with anybody, if I could open up a nonprofit, if I could make tens of millions of dollars, if I could impact the world, you are the person that comes top of mind. No one has a heart of service like you. No one has greater influence. No one is more fun. And I could not be more ecstatic about something that just happened with our company. Will you give me 5 minutes? If it's not for you, I'll never bring it up again. But if it is, we're going to change the world together, right? It launches 10/23. You are the number one person that I want to talk to right now. Okay. So you guys have about 3 minutes tops, probably less. I want you to reach out to one postpartum about the products, and then come back in the chat and say, I reached out to so-and-so, I told her about Moringa. I reached out to so-and-so, I told her about adaptogens. I reached out to so-and-so, I told her about the shakes or whatever. You guys, I'm literally like consuming products like I'm drinking from a fire hose right now. Like, I'm not kidding you, okay? Reach out and find some product users. And then I want you your dream builder chicken list. And then come back and say who it was and put a smiley face or a vomit emoji or whatever you want to do that let us know that you did that, okay? Time starts right now. All right, guys, how we doing? Are we there? Do we have a dream team builder voice memo out? That one's got to be a voice memo. You guys don't text them. This is like your dream builder, like you're enrolling the next Susan Sly, like the next Emily Vavra. Those people didn't even know who they were when they joined the business. But I want to see kind of where you're at with that. And then if you reach out to someone postpartum, you guys, this is your heart of service. Like you can really make a difference and like help some people right now. So this is what I want to chat with you guys about tonight. Like honestly, making connections. Where do you find them? Talk to you a little bit about discovery questions and then a little bit about the close. Okay. And if you're like, what's a discovery question or what do you mean close? Because those are some sales terms and your skin just crawled a little bit. That's okay. Mine did too in the very beginning, right? I was the nutritionist. I was all about the service. I didn't want to sell anybody. And then I once saw the PIB on a value pack and I was like, okay, I'm just kidding. I'm going to sell everybody I know, right? Like one value pack was like 4 spin classes. Like when you really kind of get excited about this, you'll learn the skill set behind it and you will remember that you're not ever selling people. Like, yes, we're in sales, but you are truly still giving away a service. And every single thing we do, every single thing we buy in sales is always service, right? You wouldn't go in and get a pedicure and expect to not pay for it. They gave you a great service. You want to go get a massage and expect to not pay for it. Go get your teeth cleaned, go pay your vet. Like all of that is sales, right? So just because we're selling a product, we still offer an amazing service behind it. So I want you guys just to kind of get clear and get really, really excited about that. When we think about connections, if you are that person that's like, oh my gosh, I've talked to every single person I know already. Okay, I've gone through my warm market. All my coworkers like are tired of me talking about isogenics. I feel like I have no one else to talk to, right? If you have thought that, if someone on your team has thought that or whatever, I want you to put a 2 in the chat. All right. And if you're like, me and Jess and feel like we're never going to run out of prospects, we run out of time before we run out of prospects, and that every single person with skin that eats food, like Brandy always says, can use these products, right? You can get people everywhere. Put an 11 in the chat. And it's okay. There's probably a lot of 2s and there's probably a lot of 11s. And you guys, there was a period of time I was definitely a 2. Jessica has helped me so much become an 11. And I remember early on, I was like, where are you still enrolling people? Like I've gone through everybody. And she's like, you're a nutritionist. Go to the grocery store, find someone in the protein aisle and just tell them ours is better. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go hang out in the protein aisle for a while. I don't do that anymore. Emily Sutherland recently, true story, not only enrolled a collagen customer from someone who was buying a different collagen from Costco, but she became her newest consultant, right? Like true story, I promise you. But a lot of us kind of go through that. And I think that sometimes we miss what I call like your finding your ideal client or finding your avatar. And for some of you that are brand new, you might be just enrolling everybody right now from your social media. It might be friends and family. It might be coworkers because they've never heard about what you're doing. But if you're seasoned, you've been doing this for a while, you also are at the point that you don't want to enroll everybody with just a heartbeat and a pulse. Like you are clear on who you want to enroll, right? And the type of people you want to work with. And so I think that if we were single, or some of you are single, and we were to say, what's your ideal partner, right? Like, who do you want to date? What ends up happening is people tell us all the people they don't want to date or all the characteristics they don't want to have, right? But they don't necessarily know what they do want. Or, I'll say to my friends that are single, like, what are you looking for? And like, oh, I don't want someone that's a smoker. Oh, I don't want someone that's not financially stable. Or, and I'm like, okay. And then it's like, I do want someone that's faith-based. I'm like, okay, if you don't go to church, right? If you're looking for someone who's faith-based, you should probably go to church. You should hang out some Bible studies. Like you have to get clear on that. And our business is the same way. So when we go back to our intention statements, today I allow myself to attract people that are, this is you bringing in your ideal client. This is you attracting in your avatar and you getting focused on who you want to work with. You guys, if you looked at my journal from a year ago to right now, it is so drastically different. And I used to joke about how I couldn't get into moms groups because they would know I was like a poser. I am in every moms group, every breastfeeding group right now. Like I'm in them all, right? I have a whole new connection to people, but it's genuine, right? Like I'm not in there like, oh my gosh, I'm here to enroll you. It's like I can relate. There's things that we can talk about, and it's people I haven't even met yet. So I want you guys to truthfully think about some of those characteristics and then where can you find them? And when you go to connect with them, some of us have been taught this a long time ago, and some of us have not been taught this for a while. Hang on just one. I have a fussy baby who is doing really good, but now he's going to go hang out with his dad. But you guys want to say hi real fast? Say hi, Adonis. Say hi. It's my bedtime, so I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to go give them to Ray. Right? Ryan, I've been calling you. Okay, a little intermission. Anyways, you guys are like, he's adorable. Okay, so there's something that we used to be taught a long time ago, and I was really inspired last week when Jess went through the comp plan, because we don't do that all the time. We have all these new people, right? And you've got to hear it over and over and over. We learn through repetition. So there's an acronym called FORM. And I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Kyle and the Crash used to teach it. Chris Harder used to teach it a long time ago. But it's like, where are you from, right? What's your occupation? What do you do recreationally? And then what motivates you? And when you start building connection, if you can think about those questions and then go deeper, you will make the best friends and inevitably figure out how to bring up isogenics, right? So if I meet Kathy, right, and we are in a new moms group, you know, August babies 2023 or something, right? And I say, hey, I saw that you're in the August, you know, baby group or whatnot. Where are you from? And she says to me, I'm from Denver, right? Like, boom, it's like dead. And you're like, well, now what are we going to talk about? Right. So you have to keep it going. So she says, you know, I'm from Kansas City. And I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, one of my closest friends lives in St. Louis. Are you on the Kansas side or the Missouri side? You know, and she's going to say something and you dig a little bit deeper. Are you from there or did you move there? Right. And you start to ask questions. Inevitably, someone's going to ask about you. So now you've built a genuine relationship and you're not just interrogating and randomly, like, you know, asking questions to some person you just DM'd. So when we think about the what do you do, right? So I'm talking to her again. I'm like, oh, and I was like, are you on maternity leave right now? Like, do you work from home? Like, what do you do? And she'll say something like, I'm a hairdresser. Like, and then you're like, oh, what do I say next? Right? You got to peel back the layers of the onion and get really, really excited. Like you're getting to know someone. Like think about a first date. And if someone could take an interest in you, right? Take that interest in them. You guys, I remember when I first started hanging out with Jessica Rigner and this girl, Renee Schreibman, and I was like, they're like interrogators. I mean, they were like such good question askers, but it was like fascinating to watch. And it's a skill that I've learned because someone told me that this is something that we got to do in this business. So when we think about the what do we do, how long have you been doing that? Right? Do you love it? Now, here's some questions. These are part of your discovery questions, but here's some questions that you can ask that you can really start to figure out the pain points, right? Do you love what you do? Do you love the people you work with? If time and money were of no issue, what would you be doing? Do you keep your options open to diversify your income? Are you making the money that you think you're worth? Like, what around that is it, you know, that you can get to know them? If you weren't doing this, what else would you be doing? Okay. When we get into, so this is the form, right? FORM, recreational. These are people's hobbies, but the whole thing here is like you're going deeper, right? So I will ask someone like, what is it that you do for fun? Or go peep on their page and I'll say, oh my gosh, I see that you have a Peloton. And I was like, I have the Peloton too. I took Jess's class this morning. You know, what else do you do for, you know, workouts? You know, I'm thinking about getting into Pilates. Like just like genuinely ask a question, but go deep, peeling back, peeling back. And the M, this is another one that I love to ask that will get you into the pain points, which is motivation, right? And that you can say things like, you know, what's a bucket list trip that you want to go on? You know, if you could go on any vacation, if you could take your kids anywhere, what's something you want to do? What's a charity that you wish you could contribute to? If you had a blank check and you can write it out for an infinite amount of money, like who would you give it to? And you start to find common denominator. You find out what are the things that interest people and you find your pain points, but ultimately you build trust and you build rapport. When you take that much interest in someone, A, you get to know them. B, they like actually think that you genuinely care, and you should. Don't be fake with this, but you'll find the way that isogenics becomes the solution. And that's ultimately what these connections are all about. So Ashley DeChico was just in Denver at our little mini Super Saturday, and she did such an amazing job talking about connection, you know, both online and offline. But she retold the story and how she and Jessica Rigner met at a nail salon, right? And I was chuckling in the background because I remember when Jessica met her, and I remember Jessica being like, "Oh yeah, I met this like fabulous girl. Like she and her husband own this dealership. She's never gonna do it, right?" It was like the Brandy Brokaw thing, you know. She'd be amazing if like she ever decided to, but she's never gonna do it, type of thing. And then to hear what it was like on Ashley's side, I never really heard the story from Ashley. And when you hear where she was at that time in her life, right, that she was kind of a mom and a wife and had lost her identity and was looking for this community, looking for something professional to do that was flexible, that still gave her like a high net worth, that it could not happen at a more serendipitous time. And Janie used to say to Jess and I all the time, God just brings the most amazing people to me. God just drops the most incredible people into my lap. And I remember being like, what does that even mean? Like, why does she say that to us all the time? You know? And it was like, we're building this business and I didn't get it. And then you hear these stories over and over and over and over. But what I'll tell you is you're going to miss the opportunity to enroll them. You're going to miss the opportunity to bring them in if we're not really connecting with them. But if you're like Holly Kirsch, right, and you see opportunity everywhere, and whether she's at the airport or the pickleball field or getting her hair blown out, right, that she's so excited and high on life about what we do, she's constantly enrolling people because she's building connection everywhere we go. So when we go back to your ideal client, right, your avatar, I got a little distracted with the baby for a second. I want you to make a list of where does your ideal client hang out? Where does your avatar hang out? So when I think about the people in this business, the moments that I've had the most fun, if you guys recently saw at the mastermind, Renee and Jessica and Erica Rothenberger have like this really cute video. They're working out together, you know? And I love working out with my girlfriends, right? Especially before a conference or like on vacation. So that's a characteristic of mine, somebody who loves to work out. Because if we're on vacation, I want us to do that. I mean, some of my favorite memories, Lori's coming out in a week to spend like a week with me, right? And I'm already excited to work out with her. Like with so many of my memories that pop up, we're working out together. We're at Cycle Bar, we're hiking. Like that is something that I love to do. So I'm not going to meet that person in my living room. All right. I'm probably also not going to meet that person at a fast food restaurant. You know, I'm not necessarily going to meet that person on a 14er because that's not the type of workouts I like to do. But I'm like, okay, I go to Core Power, I go to Cycle Bar, I go to F45, I go to Pure Bar. Like, where is someone that likes the community, likes the social setting, that has a competitive mindset, that's into health and wellness? Okay, that's one trait. I also really like confident people. I like people that can command a room. I like people that can delegate. I like people that have natural leadership. So then I think, where am I going to find that person? Maybe at the grocery store. I might get lucky, right? In aisle 7, I might get lucky and I might come across the next Jessica Rigner. Or I start to put myself in events where I can see the person who organizes it, right? You can see the speaker. When I go to a networking group, 99% of the time, I'm less interested in everybody there trying to exchange, you know, business cards as fast as they can. But I look for the person that there's a line of people to talk to. Because I say, that's the person with influence. Or I go and I find the person who is the speaker, because that's the person with the knowledge. That's the person at the head of the room. That is the person that's commanding people's attention, that has immediate credibility and immediate influence. So I don't necessarily want to enroll 10 people that are going to go one level deep, right? I want to enroll one person that can go 100 levels deep. And it's getting clarity on where this is. So a lot of times people look at Jess and say, oh my gosh, her business is amazing and she has all these people. And I love, the other day we were on a call and she so vulnerably, it said, you know, people might not necessarily be able to do what I did. I ran sales team, right? I was the VIP for sales. She had a skill set. Some people look at Emily Sutherland and say, I can't do what she does as a practitioner, as a holistic practitioner. We all can get better every single day and we all can learn this skill set. But one of the things that Jessica does so well is she doesn't spend time on people who are not her ideal client, right? She knows exactly what she's looking for. She knows the traits, she knows the characteristics, she knows the qualities, and that's where she invests her time. It'd be like you dating a bunch of people that didn't have the things you wanted. Like, you guys, I'm never dating a smoker, right? Like, imagine going on 8 blind dates with someone that all smokes cigarettes. It would never work if you don't want to date a smoker. Like, you've got to get really, really clear on that. So when you have those characteristics, then you start to identify where they spend time. If having someone who's faith-based to you is super important, and that is for a lot of us, where are you going to find people who are faith-based? I remember Kelly Dickerhoof meeting Laura Stevens in a Bible study. You know, they also met a girl who's no longer in Isogenics in that same Bible study. And these women went on to make incredible, incredible incomes, all service-based in Spokane, which is a tiny town, because they were aligned in their values and their faith. Okay. So we have our characteristics. Then we make our list of where do they hang out? Where am I going to find them? Then we get into these discovery questions. So the form is where we break the ice. You've got to have a way to just be able to initiate the conversation and find common denominator. But ultimately, we're trying to get to their why. You're trying to figure out the pain point. You're trying to get them to tell you something that then you can provide the solution. And this is where we really change sales to a service, is that we offer the solution to the problem they have. But the key is getting them to tell you the problem so that then you provide the solution, as opposed to suggesting something that they don't even know that they want. And that's what I see all the time, is we're so excited that it's like we shove Isagenix down their throat from a business perspective and a product perspective, right? Before people tell you they're tired, before people tell you they're stressed, before people tell you that they can't zip up their jeans right now, like whatever it is that they have to communicate, we're so excited about it that we literally vomit it down people's throats and they want nothing to do with it. But when you ask questions and you really, really listen to what they're saying, that you can say, you know what, this may or may not be for you, but based on the things that I've said, or based on the things you've said, I really think you should take a look at what I'm doing. I think it can help you. And then you tell them the solution to the problem they just said. You know, I don't know if this is for you, but if it were me, you know, and this is what's happened, and this is why I'm thinking about you from both a product standpoint and a business standpoint. So I'm just going to give you real examples right now, because this is my life and these are the groups that I'm in. But I saw a thread. It's really hard because you can't like post in there, and you can't poach people, and you're not supposed to send DMs. They have to ask permission. And I'm getting so much value out of these groups. Like, I'm literally treading very lightly because I don't want to get kicked out of them. But I saw a woman post in there, and she said, my 3-month maternity leave is coming to an end. I never imagined myself not wanting to go back to work. Like, she's very career oriented, right? This was her thing. I never imagined not wanting to go back to work, but I'm the primary breadwinner for the family. If anybody has any legitimate work from home opportunities, please send them my way. That's what she wrote. Okay. And I wrote in the comments, I said, hey, make sure to check your other folders because I'm sending you a message right now. Thank you for your vulnerability. I have something for you. Okay. So I didn't like put my link to the website in there. I didn't say what it was. I felt her that it was heard. I let her know that I was going into the messages. I said enough that hopefully anybody else who feels like her would maybe reach out to me. Okay. I mean, I'm being really loud on my public page right now about what I'm doing. And then I messaged her, right? And I just said, hey, I saw your post. And I said, I can only imagine what you're feeling. And I related to her, right? So another thing you could do, a sales term, is feel, felt, found, right? So you're like, you want to find that common ground. You want to be in the same boat so that you're not better than someone, you're not different from someone. There's common denominator. And I said, I totally get what it's like to want to work and be home with your baby. That's what I said to her. And I said, I absolutely love what I do. And I'm not the type of person that could just do mom life all day long, but I'm so thankful for the flexibility and freedom that I have. I saw that you're looking for something. I'd love to chat with you. So she was like, can you tell me more about it? Right. We all get that. Right. She wasn't like ready to get on the phone with me right away. That's what she said. And I said, I absolutely can. And I'll tell you anything that you want to know. And I said, but I think we're both busy and it's hard to get a couple minutes right now, that if we could get on the phone, I was like, I think we're going to maximize our time. That's what I said to her. Okay. So I ended up getting on the phone. I asked her about what she did, you know, what her job was, what were the things that she liked, you know, what were the things that she was nervous about or whatnot. And ultimately, I said, if you're open, I said, you should take a look at this, and gave her some examples of stories, you know, went through exactly what you hear us say all the time, that you get started by purchasing market disruptor products. You plug into a 3-step simple system that your infant's going to be able to do in record time, and you decide your income. We have a compensation plan with no ceiling, and as little or as much as you want to make, you're the driver, right? That's where we left. And she ended up enrolling. Okay. Now, whether or not she goes and executive and makes, you know, $80,000 this year, or she uses the products and returns and goes back to her job, I don't know. And I'm unattached to that, right? I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that she's successful. But the point of this call was how I set up the connection, right? What happened, where I found her, how we related, and then what we did. Okay. So when you are really, really clear, like right now, I'm like, I don't have a lot of time. And if I'm going to make these connections, I want them to be intentional. I'm not going very many places. I have loved building out and about for years and years, at the gyms, like I told you, right? At airports, sitting next to fascinating people. Like, I don't sit at my gate with my phone on and my headphones on and tune out. I sit at bars. I sit next to interesting people, right? Because there's people everywhere, and traveling, I've met some of the most amazing people. Right now, I'm primarily building online. Okay. That's just what's working for me. But I'm not sending 50 of the exact same messages to random hairdressers. I have also done that. Okay. This is not the message that I'm sending. I'm like, hey, I'm looking for brand partners. We have these products. I'm working on a project. If it's open for you, I'm not poo-pooing that. I have done that. But I'm wanting to really highlight genuine connection, because for the people who are like, I don't want to just slide into people's DMs, or you don't like when that happens, teaching you how to build a relationship with anybody and quickly. Now, the part of having this format of the things that you're saying or getting to the pain point to bring up the solution is you don't want 800 pen pals. That is also exhausting, right? Like, we're busy. And if you're in carpool lane, or you're trying to make dinner, or you're at your other job and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm writing essays with all these people that are really not that interesting. Like, that's not going to be not going to be beneficial either, that I want you to be intentional. So we have our ideal client avatar. We built genuine connection. Your discovery questions is outside of that necessarily that form acronym, but really getting to know what's in it for them. So imagine now I'm on the phone with this woman, same example, okay? I'm going to walk you through some of those questions that I asked her. When I said, what is it that you like about your job? Okay. So, and I'm taking notes. What is it that she likes? What is it that you are not wanting to give up around your career? And she said things like, I make a lot of money. I'm the family's breadwinner. I said, okay, she's got to be able to make money. She said, I lead a team. And she said, I'm going to miss working with people. Like, I don't want to talk to a newborn all day long. I really like my colleagues. Okay. That was something that she said. Another thing that she said was that she likes dressing up. She's like, I like dressing up. She goes, I haven't put on my like hair and makeup, and I don't want to be the person that lets myself go. That's the verbiage that she used. I don't want to be the person that lets myself go because I don't get dressed and I hang out in yoga pants all day long. Right. Those are the things that she said. And I said, what do you not like right now? Like, what is it that's keeping you? And this is before I've said anything, right? I'm getting to know her. And I said, what are the things that you don't want to go back to your job or whatever? And she said, I want to make sure that I'm always here in the mornings to read story time with my kid. I don't want to get stuck in traffic, that I don't do bedtimes and bath times. She's like, I don't want someone else seeing my kids first. That was the one that like, she got me. She was like, I don't want to not see my kid roll over the first time. I don't want to see him miss the first steps, right? Like, that was the real pain point. Like, I thought about that almost immediately, right? And I said, so if there was a way that you could have an amazing community, right? You could replace or surpass your current income, right? You could work with a team of people. You could have these intelligent conversations, right? Plus be able to stay in shape or get in the best shape you've ever had, reverse aging. Is this something you would be open to learning about? And then I said, can I tell you my story? And you guys, we talked about the 30-second story at Super Saturday. I know they just talked about it at the ISA Academy in Atlanta. I was short, you guys. I wasn't going to be on the phone 20 minutes talking all about me, but I just said I used to exchange time for money. I was burnt out. And I said, this opportunity came into my life. I've had so much fun. I've traveled all over. I have the best friends in the whole world. Go look at my Instagram and my Facebook. It's all because of this company. And I said, right now, never, ever have I been more grateful because of everything you just said. And I've got a baby on the boob right now, and I'll be teaching a nutrition class in a few hours. I said, there's nothing greater. And then I put her in a group message with another mom. That was the trick, right? I wanted her to see the community. I wanted her to see it with somebody else besides me. And I was already teaching her the system. Okay. When you talk to people about the products, Jess and I were on the phone the other day. What a treat. I got to talk to her for about like 30 minutes, which never happens. And we were both talking about how we're going back to the nutrition for a lot of reasons. You guys, I know the collagen is a one-stop shop and it's an easy sell, and you don't have to do a lot of coaching, and people don't have to change their lifestyle. But here's what I'll tell you what is happening with the collagen that we're all feeling. The retention is not always the same as the nutrition products. Some, not always. The BV is half, a third, a quarter of the things we used to do. The PIBs are less, right? It's sometimes people don't necessarily have as emotional of a response to it. Now, if you have a walking billboard resort like Laura Lori, absolutely. But for a lot of us, when you lose 40 pounds, when you can get off medications, when your sex drive is back, when you get into clothes that you haven't worn since high school or whatever, that changes your life differently than reducing fine lines and wrinkles, having longer hair and thicker nails or something for a lot of people, right? But the BV is higher, the PIBs are higher, the retention is higher, getting people to have the accountability partners. So we're leading back to the nutrition. And the reason that I wanted to chat with you about the discovery questions is for the collagen, most people are like, okay, I'll try it, or like, no, I already use my vital proteins, right? And that's it. When you get into the weight loss, when you get into the nutrition products and being able to ask people questions, This is how you're not only going to be able to lead with the nutrition, but you're going to be able to lead with bigger packs. So if you're someone right now that thinks, oh my gosh, the collagen's expensive, right? How in the heck am I ever going to sell a value pack? How am I ever going to sell a business builder pack? Put a 3 in the chat. And there's no judgment, right? Because we've all been there. You guys, when I first started with Isogenics, I was selling what doesn't even exist anymore, I don't think, was the healthy lifestyle pack. And Jessica was selling value packs, right? So she's selling a $500 pack and I'm selling a $100 pack. And I was like, how in the world is this chick selling $500 packs? Part of it was my own money mindset. So if you've never read Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, I know we talked about that last week. I think it was last week. You should definitely read it. Part of it was my own money mindset. But part of it was because I didn't have the skill set. I didn't understand where people are spending their money and where they find the value. But our job is for them to see the value. So before we make a suggestion, we ask enough questions about what they're doing. So I'm posting a lot about the nutrition right now, right? And a lot of my reach outs are about the nutrition. Ironically, I'm going back to terminated customers because of this new promotion that's coming out, but a guy and his brother over the weekend. Okay. So I went back to someone. It was like, hey, Michael, I know it's been a long time. You had been enrolled under Casey, a long, long time ago. And I said, there's some really cool things happening with Isogenics right now. I just wanted to reach out to see if you'd ever be open, to hopping back in on the products. Right. Like that was it. And he was like, I can't believe you just wrote me. Like, I absolutely want to do this. And he's like, but I want to do it with somebody. He was like, I'm traveling with my brother right now. Do you think he would do it with me? And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a little bit of a challenge, I was like, who's his brother? And like, what's it going to be? But then it's everything that I'm going to teach you right now is literally what I did. So I was like, hey, I was like, just out of curiosity, what makes you want to do this with Michael right now? And he's like, well, he said the products taste pretty good. He was like, ultimately, I just don't feel that good. I don't feel like I look that good. And he says it works. I'm thinking it's going to work. So when someone says like, I just don't feel that good, like, what the heck does that mean? Right. So I wanted to know. And I said, what do you mean by that? And he's like, I'm not confident. It's not fun to get dressed right now. He's like, I'm exhausted in the morning. I feel like I need all the coffee to get through the day. And he was like, and then when the coffee wears off, I'm onto the sugar. And by the time I'm home with my family, a healthy dinner doesn't sound good. You guys, can you like relate? I mean, was that ever you before Isogenics, or have you talked to people? And immediately we're doing it. So I asked him questions. I said, if you could replace 2 meals a day with shakes, which 2 would you replace? You guys, this is old school, what we trained on 2013, 2014. Some of you have probably never heard these questions. Okay. And he was like, probably breakfast and lunch, so I can have dinner with my family. And I was like, cool. And I was like, that works great for a lot of people. So just out of curiosity, what do you do for breakfast and lunch right now? And he was like, oh, sometimes breakfast is like a breakfast burrito from the stand. He's like, sometimes it's a coffee and a muffin from Starbucks. Sometimes I don't eat breakfast. Sometimes I'm grabbing, XYZ. I said, okay. And I said, what about lunch? And he said, oh, sometimes I'm at the convenience store. Sometimes I'm at Tokyo Joe's. Sometimes it's Chipotle. On rare occasions, I've got, leftovers. I go to this pizza place with somebody. I said, how much do you think you spend on just breakfast and lunch? Not even your groceries, right? How much do you think you're spending on breakfast and lunch on average? And he was like, oh, at least 20 or 30 bucks. And I said, each or total? He says, it depends. So at the low end, I was at $30 a day. On the high end, I was at 60. Okay. And so through some other questions, right? Like, what would it mean to look and feel your best? How important is it to, slide into the jeans that you haven't worn in a while, to have the energy that you want, to have, better aging as you get going? I asked some more questions. And then I said, so if there was a way for less than $30 a day that I can get you set up with the best pack, 100% money back guaranteed, right? You're going to replace your meals, breakfast and lunch. You're going to get the most incredible anti-aging vitamins, our greens drinks, which is loaded with the nutrition of the more salads than you'd ever want to eat, and all the snacks to set you up. Plus, I'm coaching you every step of the way. Is this what you would like to get started with? Right? What do you guys think this guy bought? Right? He and his brother, they both bought value packs. And I was like literally giddy the other day. I was like, I have no idea the last time I sold 2 value packs, because I've been leading with collagen, right? And then it was like the 30-day new member and all these things. And I was like, we have to go back to what we did. And part of this, you guys, not only, do you know what the pibs are in 2 value packs? I mean, I had like a little like excited girl moment all over again, but the BV, right? The BV on that is so much different than the collagen. And so we think about the QV going through the rest of the tree. A lot of us are like, our cycles are down, but enrollments are up. Why are the cycles down if the enrollments are up? Those used to have a direct relationship. And it's like, because we're enrolling smaller packs. And to keep the 20% PIB high on the front end, there's way less QV going through the tree for everybody else. So Jessica can enroll a bunch of people and she's going to get all the PIBs, but the QV that's going through everybody else after that is less. And I said, okay, collectively right now with this, and we're focusing on the team bonus, we know that the retention is higher on bigger packs, right? But it always is going to go down. So if someone starts at 120 BV or QV, they're going to go down to 87, right? And they're probably going to go down to 47. If someone starts on 300 BV, they're going to go to 200. Then they're going to go to 100. So you start to do the math on the team bonus. And do you want a lineage of duplication of value packs, or adaptogen elixir packs? And I'm not saying that those are not great, but this is simple math right now. And this is what's getting me super, super excited with this bonus and getting back to the nutrition. I'm like, all right, here we go. Cleanse coaching all day long again, because it makes a difference. And we talk about making an income through impact. This is what we're going to do. We're going to impact a lot of lives and we're going to make a lot more money, but we've got to get really clear on what we're saying to people and then being able to close. So your discovery question, this is getting to the pain points. If time and money were of no issue, what would you be doing, right? How much weight do you want to lose? Why is that important to you? How would your life look different if you had enough energy in the afternoon to be with your kids? What would your life look like if you weren't dependent on caffeine? Why is it important to you to get off blood sugar medication? Like whatever it is, get them to tell you so that then you can say, if there was a way, would you be open to it? When people are talking to you about cost, ask them, how much do you spend a day on coffee? How much a day do you spend on breakfast? How much do you spend a day on lunch? Are you willing to reallocate that into your health? Give it a go for 30 days. If they're not willing to do it, you're not here to convince them. Ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to your health right now? People under a 7, under an 8, I'll just say, you know what? I don't think this is a fit for you. And I said, I'm all in, but I really only want to coach people that are an 8 or higher. And I said, I just don't think you're ready. And I'm going to set you up for failure. Do you know how quickly those people become a 10? You let them loose and they're like, oh, no, I think I'm actually a 9. Nope. And they're ready to come in like 2 feet faster than ever, because we're not here to convince them. It's a posture, right? It's a belief in that you don't need them. You're here to help them, but you want them to be able to help themselves. And the last little thing I'm going to tell you in 3 minutes or less, when it comes to closing, you guys, I used to sit on so many three-way calls. Before it was Zooms, like straight up three-way calls. The other person didn't know I was on the line. And it was like watching the most exhausting ping pong match of it going back and forth and no one saying anything. Like Lisa being like, oh yeah, that sounds great. And Nicole like wanting to enroll her and being like, yeah, it is really great. And Lisa's like, yeah, it sounds like it'd be wonderful. And Nicole's like, oh yeah, you're really going to love it. I'm like, oh my gosh, for the love, like somebody just make this decision. But you have to be willing to say, hey, we take paper, we take credit card, like, do you want it shipped to your work? Do you want it shipped to your house? What card do you want to use? That was when we used to take orders with the links to say, hey, I'm going to create a recommended link for you. It's customized for you, but I need to know what shake flavors do you want? Do you want powder or liquid supplements? And just start asking them and say, hey, we've got a group cleanse starting on Monday. Do you want to jump in with everybody or do you want to wait a couple days? Do you want to jump in before everybody? There's got to be some questions that then they will be ready for the order. So I want to leave you guys with this. And here's a little bit of homework, and check in with your threads, check in with some accountability so that you take action. Don't get off this call right now and just be inspired and be like, oh, that was really good, and then not do anything. Okay. I want you to truly, truly do 3 things for me. I want you to write out a minimum of 5, ideally 10 ideal characteristics of the people you want to work with. All right. Get so clear. Are they moms? Are they faith-based? Are they healthy? Are they competitive? Are they fun? Are they silly? Do they love to travel? Like whatever they are. Then the second part, where do they hang out? Both online and offline. What Facebook groups, what organizations, what clubs, what restaurants, what social things, like where are you going to find these people so that you're intentional, right? That you're not just scrolling TikTok, but that you're joining the right thread, the right social media platform, whatever it is to meet them. Then I want you to come up with your own questions. So that form is a little bit, but what are some natural discovery questions that are going to help you get to know that person, get to find the pain points that you can provide the solution to the problem that they have, and then being able to really go in with the close. right? Just figure it out. Say, am I asking what flavors do they want? Do they want plant-based or whey? Hey, these are the flavors. Right now, if you were me, I would for sure put in our seasonal shake flavors. They're going to sell out. Like everyone's stocking up on them. I would put these in your initial order for sure. Thinking about what it's going to be. And if everybody can just chime in here and maybe write in the chat some of your favorite books that helped with sales. Mine was How to Win Over and Influence Friends. That was my favorite. That was something that changed it for me, that took me feeling like, oh my gosh, I don't want to sell anybody, to I can do this. Brian Tracy has some great ones with questions on how to go for the sale, like Go for No was one. But type in the chat just some books that really helped you with your language and start to apply this. And my bonus pro tip extra credit, and if you do this, circle back to Jess or me for sure, 100%. I want to encourage you to get out of just the college and mindset and go back to some of the nutrition. Give yourself a goal to sell a value pack this week. And if you sell a value pack by Sunday, okay, tell Jess or tell me, and your name is going into a drawing. I'm not quite sure what the prize is, but it's not going to be an Isogenics product. Let me think about it. But it'll be cash driven or Amazon driven or Nordstrom driven. It's not going to be a seasonal product or another Isogenics product. But tell me when you have sold a value pack. I want you to have the homework to go for a value pack, and then we're going to do a drawing and we'll celebrate in the call next Monday. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being on here. Have a great night. We'll see you soon.